Hi guys, it's been a long time since I uploaded a proper YouTube video. It's been a long time since I've done a meal prep video, and it's been a long time since I've done a meal prep at all. And the reason is I simply don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of space in my brain to think about stuff like this. I don't have a lot of energy mentally or physically, aside from all the stuff going on in my life that I have to spend prepping food for my dogs. So when I don't have any time at all, I buy myself a good quality, balanced, pre-made raw and call it a day. When budget also doesn't suffice, I will add in a high quality kibble. And I think that many of us have been feeling the same way about time lately. Everything is more expensive and time is money. So when I did find some energy and I did find some time and I had a bit of inspiration to prep some meals for my dogs, I thought, well, I might as well film it. Didn't have a whole lot of time to do that, as is the topic of this video, but it inspired me to record for you guys what I do to allow myself to do a meal prep and keep it as simple as possible. Now, a meal prep always starts with a proper rummage through the freezer and with calculating and ordering whatever I need for all my dogs combined. I will in the future do a video on how I calculate my orders, and I think I have done a video similar to that, or a very in-depth video on meal prepping. I will link that up here if I have and if I can find it. And because all of us don't have a whole lot of time in our days anymore, I recommend doing all preparations that you can do in advance on the days leading up to the prep. So on Saturday, in order to prepare for my prep, I grabbed 84 containers, 3 sets of 28, and I wrote down the dogs' names on these lids. It's a very easy way of keeping track of which meal belongs to which dog, and if you write it down with permanent marker, you can actually easily scrub it off whilst doing the dishes. Then, because I needed some seeds and nuts in this blend, I went for the easy route and took some ground flax and some chia seeds or chia seeds, and I soaked them overnight in the fridge. And that was my seed and nut mix done. And this time around, I didn't have to make a veg blend. Sometimes I don't have to because they're already in the freezer. And this time around, I didn't have to because I bought some steamed and minced vegetables online. Now, more on those simple ingredients later on. My second recommendation would be to start your prep by cutting and slicing all of the ingredients that didn't come ground up to begin with. So whatever prep work you need to do on the ingredients, start off with that. Once you're done, rinse the cutting board, rinse the knives, get rid of them because you don't need them any longer, and you'll create a whole lot of mess throughout the day. So start with one thing, finish it, and clean as you go, in order for you not to have a bunch of dishes at the end of the day, which you will end up with a lot of dishes. But in this case, clear that cutting board straight away. It's a lot easier to have that out of the way, not to have that dirty knife on the table or on the counter. It's a lot nicer, I promise. If you have a multiple dog household, I would recommend splitting the prep into sections and starting with the one dog first, unless you have enough counter space to keep all of these containers completely separate and to have a clear division between each dog's meals, because not every dog eats the same amount. Because my kitchen is being renovated, I only have a dining room table, and it fits approximately 28 containers plus a cutting board and a set of scales, so I can't prep for 3 dogs at once at the moment. I do prefer doing that because I can weigh and portion one ingredient at a time for every single dog, and it keeps oversight for me, but I don't recommend doing that if you're very new to prepping or if you don't have the space, because it's important to keep that clear division between all of these sets of containers. Now, of course, while you're meal prepping, you also need your mental support at hand, so I always have a dog or 3 handy next to me to clean up any things I drop, which I prefer not to, but they are always there to help and they keep a close eye. And if you are prepping for multiple dogs, there is no need to thaw the ingredients for every single dog separately. I calculate and order for all my dogs combined, meaning that I order as though I were prepping for a dog that ate the total amount of 3. So my dogs this month are eating 1 kilogram exactly per day, which I love. It fits very nicely in this video, makes it a lot easier to follow my calculations. But as you can see, Hunter eats 425 grams a day, which I divide by the total amount of meat that I feed a day, total amount of food that I feed a day, and I times that by the kilograms that I have per ingredient. So again, Hunter eats 425 grams a day. I divide it by 1,000 grams, which gives me a portion or a percentage of 42.5. And I times that by the amount I have in weight of each ingredient. So I keep doing this for every single ingredient, and that is all the weighing I do. I don't weigh out each portion for each meal, I simply divide by eye, and that's what saves me the most time during meal preps. Now, of course, some households will have dogs that require different needs, so that will be more time consuming, but I definitely recommend weighing out all ingredients as a whole and dividing by eye. If you have the same amount of one meat as another, you can keep the meals varied by alternating them in every container. That keeps the meals slightly more interesting. So I do the same thing for all the ingredients. I have 6 kilograms of the bone-in meat that I'm using, and this means that I don't even have to calculate it anymore. I still knew that it was 2.5 kilograms approximately. And for every ingredient that I have, I will calculate how much to feed each dog. Now, the final and perhaps most important tip would be to keep the ingredients as convenient as possible. As stated previously, I didn't have to prep a vegetable blend because I ordered cans of steamed blended veggies. It saves me a whole lot of cutting, cooking, blending and washing up on the days before the prep. I also order as much ground meat as I can find, and I use things that come pre-cut and frozen dry, like this lamb fat and these sprats. And one of my favourite frozen ingredients is cubed tripe. Tripe has a very intense odour that isn't as prominent when frozen. And because I don't have to cut it, the odour doesn't sink into my skin either. You'll see me using my hands a lot as the video progresses, rather than neatly scooping with utensils like I did at the start of this video. I do that a lot because I don't mind getting a little messy. It saves me a whole lot of time and it gets more precise than using a scoop or a fork, so I prefer using my hands over utensils. Now, raw feeding will never be as convenient as feeding kibble, but we can try to make things easier to allow ourselves to feed our pets a fresh diet. Now, I hope today's video was somewhat informative and entertaining, and I hope that you take a couple of tips from this, but if you have any other recommendations, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, because I always like learning more and we can always teach each other a thing or two, because that's what this video was all about. So for now, have fun with your dogs this week, and I'll see you again soon.